about that in just 1 second, but let me make sure I'm recording. Okay. So you guys could see from our last class meeting that even though the class started at 9:30, we normally will go to, the full length of the class. So we will normally end right at noon. Today, however, depending on when we complete this writing diagnostic, we may have an opportunity to get out a tad bit early, but that's tentative, okay? So don't get too excited. But normally we are, on time, 9:30 to 12. So you guys see that. Let's take a look at the check-ins before I kind of really dive into what we have planned today. All right, good. So you guys had a couple of check-in questions. One question was just asking you about your first week of classes. Today is Thursday, so we're kind of reaching the end of week 1, which is good. Look, 1 week down, 15 more to go, right? So I'm going to kind of check out what you guys had. I also asked another question about what is something that you, one interesting thing that you remember about your instructor. So let's see, you guys have been sharing. So Giselle pointed out that she remembers that I like Lil Baby. I do. I really do. I like him. Sam puts that I've been at Malcolm X for 10 years. Yes. I see Rabia, your first week of class has been good, and you remember that I like music. That is right. A little bit addicted. So I see Jamia, first week has been tiring. Absolutely. Look, I'm raising my hand. It's been very tiring for me as well. And you have to kind of get used to the routine. Yeah, I'm gonna do my best to work with you guys on that. So there will again be little small grace periods, and with the 9:30 time, I agree. Look, originally I thought that was the reason why my class wasn't filling up. When I was watching enrollment over the summer, I was thinking, oh, it's an early class. But so far, you guys have really been on point, from what I've seen so far. So yeah, that'll get a little bit easier with time, Jamia. Jaquan wrote, my first week has been crazy, still trying to get used to this online stuff. Yes, that will be a process, you guys. So sometimes if you feel like, Miss Cole, she's over explaining things, she's telling us things that we already know. I'm attempting to reach the student who may not know. So I'm not going to assume that you guys, know how to operate the Brightspace course page. I'm not going to assume that you guys know how to navigate at this point. So I will always attempt to add a little extra instruction or explanation to help you get used to, operating the online classroom. Okay. Let's see. I see Emmeline. And am I saying that right, Emmeline? Is that the correct pronunciation? I think I asked.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right. I see you say that the first week has been okay and crazy. Again, still trying to get used to that online stuff. Definitely. If you guys, and I'm glad that you're, verbalizing this and letting me know, but if you feel any of your other classes, if you feel they're going too fast, or even this class as well, if you feel like, just hold on a minute, I'm kind of struggling with the pace, email me, tap me, text me, let me know. And even if you need any one-on-ones, any specific or particular questions, just know that, not only am I the instructor, but I'm operating as a resource for you. So any help that you need with getting, alleviating some of the crazy, then I can help with that. All right, you guys, let's see. I see Mia says that the first week has been decent. Look, that's my son's word. Whenever I ask him how he's doing or how anything is, it's always decent. So I like that. Yeah, it's been decent. Let's see. Noah points out it's been interesting. Still trying to figure out all the online stuff. All right, I like that use of word, Noah. Good. So you kind of still, again, learning and feeling your way around. Aisha, first week has been good. Awesome. What you remember about me is that my hometown is Oklahoma. Yes. Chicago, 20 years. I like Lil Baby. And okay, good. So you remember just about everything from my little brief blurb towards the end of class. That's awesome. I see Ariana. Now, is it Ariana or Ariana? All right, I'm going to go with Ariana. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right, Ariana says, good, great. getting used to online, but the classes have gone smooth. Well, I'm happy to hear that. Um, Brandon, first week has been good so far. Um, Yana, first week fine, a little scared because first year in college. Absolutely. I totally understand that. And that's the reason why, too, I'm trying to walk you guys slowly into this remote learning process. So I'll try not to hit you with too much too fast, but I am aware that for most of my students, this is your first introduction to college. So I'm going to try not to scare you off, okay? All right, good. Thank you guys for participating in that. If you know anything from our first class meeting, I do not take roll in the traditional way. So I don't just look at the participant list and, okay, check everyone off. Roll in this class is really based on participation and engagement. So just a quick recap of what you guys learned on Tuesday about the class, during our class orientation. Active pursuit. Remember our discussion of active pursuit. It's also one of your questions on the scavenger hunt syllabus quiz in module 1. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but good, all valid concerns. But again, make sure that when I kind of do these check-ins, or if I ask you guys to drop me something in chat or to submit something, that is normally my efforts of taking roll, okay? Because I use that to determine not only who's here, but who's been engaged. Okay. I've noticed a few things in watching my teenagers. I have one teenager who started already online remote learning, and I have another who starts next week. But for my 15-year-old who started last week, I see what he does when he's online in his remote learning classes. He has his phone. Sometimes he may flick on the TV in the back of the room if I'm not checking on him all the time. So a lot of times students will sign into a class. They'll be there, let's say, in spirit, but they're not really there mentally. They may be doing other things. So the check-ins, the asking you guys constant questions and wanting to hear your responses, that's always checking to make sure you are engaged in the class, okay? Because I've seen how students have been finessing this remote learning, right? I'm a little guilty myself. My son, I've seen him doing all kind of crazy things on the side. All right, let me pull up our Brightspace course page because there's something I want to show you guys. So let me stop our share for just a second. I want to quickly, before we get to the writing diagnostic, you guys know that that's what I have planned today. But before we get to that, let's go back to our Brightspace course page. And let me just remind you of a few things that you guys have to be concerned about this week and also in preparation for our next week class. So let me share the screen really quickly. All right. So the Brightspace homepage, you guys know that this is the, I want to say the main platform that you guys will be able to interact and engage in the class. This is where you guys are finding all of your documents and materials. So we know that the way that we organize our weekly assignments will be in those weekly modules. So how have you guys been doing with working through the weekly modules so far? Has anyone, which I know a few of you have gotten started, I've seen what students have started to submit to me so far, but how are things going with the module, you guys? Let me see what I have in chat. Okay, so far so good. I see you, Rabia. I also noticed you turned in your welcome video already as well, so that's good. If you guys haven't even looked at the module yet, that's okay. Anytime you are encountering the weekly modules, one thing to keep in mind, just to reiterate from Tuesday's discussion, is you can work it at your own pace. Okay, and let me just show you guys where the module is since I'm talking about it. You can work it at your own pace. Try not to maybe wait till Sunday night to work your whole module, but pace yourselves based on your own individual schedules. But each week you need to make sure you are working to complete the module. So let me show you the week 1 module just to remind you guys. Normally I give the weekly modules on either Sunday night or Monday. So you guys will be able to go into Brightspace and view the weekly modules each week. Let's say starting Sunday evening or Monday mornings, okay? It will normally be posted. From there, students will find in the module all of the reading assignments, any other additional assignments that we will cover or that will be due that week, okay? So you guys know from week 1, you have the assignment of completing the virtual icebreaker, the welcome videos. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Some of you I see have already started to submit your syllabus quiz and scavenger hunt. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. For today's class specifically, students were asked to read the short article by Jason Oda, Misspelling the Word Of. Have we all completed that reading? Looking not to scare you, I'm just checking again, a quick assessment. All right, I see yes from some. And I see you. I'm sorry, say it again.
I'm just saying I finished it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I know I started getting a couple of submissions. So Giselle, I'm going to come back and answer your question about the welcome video. So I'm going to put a pin in there for just a second. I see you though. But good. Yeah, in preparation for today's class, we were asked to come in having completed a first read of the Jason Oda text. But we are going to talk about this today, so we'll get a chance to discuss. I have a handout here in Module 1, this Image 7 annotating text. This is outlining the reading practices that I would like students to engage in anytime you encounter a text in this class. So I think when we talked about this on Tuesday, I acknowledge that I know students come to the class already with a reading or writing process, like having our own reading and writing process. So I know you guys come with your own way of doing that. But when it comes to the English 96 class, when it comes to this class, I am requiring that anytime you encounter a text, we read it according to these particular strategies. So we're going to talk about this today. And the other handout, the journal and vocab handout, just gives you more information about journaling, which is one of the required coursework, required assignments for the class. So a lot of what is in Module 1 is more informative, giving you that foundational information. So the reason I'm giving it to you first is it's normally what you will need, what we build a foundation on throughout the semester. So make sure you guys are going in and checking this information out. All right, now let me return quickly to this welcome video. This is one of the major assignments that you guys are kind of doing on your own. So I want to make sure that you aren't having any issues with this so far. And let me go back to Giselle's question. So Giselle asked, with the welcome video, we have to record ourselves and answer all the questions. Yes, so good question. With the welcome video, students will be recording themselves, kind of introduction to the class. So you are introducing yourself to the class, to your peers, and you're doing so by answering a few questions. So let me click on this. Oh, did I not include the questions? Hold on. So when you click on this link, it will take you right to the assignment. So this is where you will also go to post the assignment. Okay, good. So as you guys can see, with us being in this assignment, so far we have one student who has submitted the welcome video, but you guys still have time. So not only are you guys recording yourselves and posting yourself to this discussion board, but you're also viewing your peers' videos, and you are required to respond to at least one post, okay? Now here's what I noticed in this, Rabia, and I'm only calling you out because you've completed yours so far. I noticed that in my instructions, I am do not include the questions I would like you guys to answer, okay? So I am going to, let me jot down a note. I'm going to revise this assignment sheet to include I think it's 3 or 4 questions that students should be answering. So I think one question is your name, hometown, where you're from, or side of town, because if you're born and raised in Chicago, then where in Chicago. Another question is, what is your major or program that you are planning to get into here at Malcolm X? Another one of the questions asked about your goal or expectation for the class. And the last question asks you to, give us one interesting fact about yourself. So 4 questions, just to kind of make sure you guys get it in that video. Now, I don't want you to worry, Rabia, since you've already posted yours. I've looked at your video. A lot of what you stated in your video answers those questions. So don't worry if when you see that I update this assignment that you feel you may not have answered those questions. Don't worry, you're good. But moving forward, for everyone else, I want to make sure I'm clear on what questions you guys need to respond to. So when you do that, and I have the instructions here on how you guys would submit it. You would click on this blue box after you have recorded your video answering those questions. You'll click on this blue box, start a thread, and that will allow you to post it. Here, let me click on start a thread just so you guys will see what it will ask you. So you will enter a subject. You could say something like, welcome video, Aisha, right? So let's say it's Aisha's video, just some way of identifying the post. From here, depending on how you guys record your welcome video. Here, let me ask really quickly. Rabia, when you did your video, what did you use to record? Was it just your phone record? Did you just use your cell phone video?
Yeah, I used my iPad, and then I sent it to my email, and then the email that's on my computer, I just saved that to my computer and put it on my desktop, and then went to start thread, and then went to upload video, and then
Okay, I see. Good. Okay, so you use your iPad. From there, you save the file. See, and I may sound a little bit crazy talking about Apple stuff or anything iOS. Just have more familiarity with Androids. So depending on what you guys use, record yourself. You can even use a phone video. Normally when you do so, it'll save as this video file. So once you get that file, you'll save it, and you can either upload it to your computer or desktop so that you can enter it here. So let me show you. And if you guys can kind of see where my mouse is, can you guys see this here? I'm circling here. This says, and you see when I hover over it, let's see, it says insert stuff. So this is where you will insert that link or that file. So let me click on it. So you can either, locate the file by clicking on my computer. So just like Rabia said, you record the video, you then save it to your computer or desktop or phone as well. It saves automatically, I think, from the phone. Then you would come here to upload it. So either from your computer. Now, let's say that you have a YouTube, you're using a YouTube video. I tend to use YouTube a lot just because it's easier to share the link. Sometimes when I do it, either from my computer or phone, sometimes it's harder for me to share the link. So YouTube, I just find it easier for me to share that link. They give you the option to copy the link, and I could just bring it here and drop it in the Dropbox. So it will really be up to the student which method you use in recording your video. What are, outside of phone, outside of iPad, and outside of YouTube, what would be some other ways that you guys will record this video? Look, for my tech heads, what would be another way? Have you guys heard of, what do they call it, Vimeo? Sorry if I said that wrong.
You can use your you can use your computer as a recording. I
Right,
guess.
exactly. Kind of, you know, kind of similar to what we do with Zoom, right? Yeah. So, okay, your computer. In some cases, if you have Zoom, Zoom allows you to open a meeting and record it. And then from there, it records that session that you can then save and attach. So even Zoom can be used as a recording device. So I just want to throw a couple of ideas out there. But I also want you guys to know it doesn't have to be a kind of stuffy production. Like you don't have to be sitting at a desk and, you know, so formal, right? It can be an informal video. I had one student, he went to I believe it was his neighborhood corner store. You guys know how they've been doing the murals on the side of the stores and things like that. So the student like recorded himself like in front of these various murals in his neighborhood, kind of giving a little bit of information about himself. So you guys can be as creative as you want with this video. Just make sure you're kind of sticking within that time frame, perhaps no longer than 3 minutes, but try not to be too short, right? No, you know, like my name is, and then kind of just ripping through the questions. But whatever method you use, just make sure that you guys are making time this week to get that completed and uploaded here to Brightspace. So again, whichever method you use, you would come here to upload it, copy and paste the link. And after you have done that, you would click here on post, and that's what will post it to our discussion board. But keep in mind, after you post, you are not done. You would then want to view other videos that have been shared, and you want to respond to at least one. And when you respond, you guys will see in the instructions, when you respond to your peers, you would click reply to their post. So there's a reply button. You would click reply, and your post should either ask them a question. Maybe they mentioned something that you're curious about. So you can post a question or a comment about what you learned in the video. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a long reply. It can be a single sentence, just as long as you reply. If it's a nice to meet you and then a question, that's perfectly okay. All right. So did you guys have any questions about this? If you do, especially while you're working on it, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Try not to save this particular assignment until the last one you do. Like, let's say if everything within this module is due by next Monday, which I believe is the 31st. Oh, it says here, this assignment is due before Tuesday's class on September 1. So I would say prepare to turn it in on that Monday before, but maybe try not to wait to the very last minute in case you run into any difficulties, okay? Especially with this assignment. All right, so I just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick run through with this before I set you loose over the weekend. All right, so if there are no questions about that, something else I wanted to recap from Tuesday's discussion. We did pretty well in working our way through the entire syllabus. So just make sure you guys are reading it to get your own understanding. Did you all get a chance to view and complete that online readiness survey? I know I've asked before, but just humor me. I hear yes. Okay. If not, you guys will notice that the survey is not on the weekly module. So it's not so much that you'll be penalized if you don't complete it. It's more an assessment just for me to see how prepared students are for this course. And if I feel a student is unprepared, then I know I can reach out and attempt to assist them. So the survey, and let me show you guys where to find that survey. Come out. The survey is not in the module because it isn't a required assignment, but it is posted in our first, in our first announcement. So you see it here, kind of hovering over it in that first announcement on Brightspace. So if you get a chance to complete it, if you haven't completed it yet, take a look at this survey again. It's more so for my records. All right. Let me clear this. All right, what else did I want to make sure I talk to you about? The books and materials for the course. If you missed the first day of classes, that's what I call course orientation. If you missed that first day, let me show you guys where you can find the class meeting. And whether you missed the first meeting or not, I always sometimes like to review the previous class meetings, especially if I'm reviewing for a test, studying for a test. I need to review information that I may have missed. I normally will always go back and take a look at previous class meetings. So just for your convenience, I post them to our Brightspace announcements after class. I was a tad bit late in posting this, so my apologies for that. But as you guys can see, the recording of Tuesday's class meeting is here. So you see that there. I dropped you guys a little video note. Did you guys get a chance to look at the announcement from yesterday evening? Where do I find it? Caesar, are you talking about the recording for the class meeting? Is that what you mean? Where can you find it? Caesar and Aisha, are you guys referring to the survey link?
No, I'm sorry. I was talking about the survey link.
Okay, good. All right, so you guys saw that. That's in that first announcement. And I may put it, where could I put it? That would be easier for you guys to find. I may shoot it to you in an email if you need it. All right, so you guys see that. I gave you guys a little bit of heads up on what we'll be doing in today's class with this video announcement. So you guys come to class today knowing that we're going to have an in-class writing exercise. I think I dropped off a few reminders about the books and materials. So be mindful that if you want an actual textbook, go ahead and order that now to kind of give yourself a little bit of time to get it in, because we do start our reading. We dive into our themed reading next week, okay? But for those of you who prefer the digital text, I will always post a link for whatever reading that you guys have to complete. So it'll always be available. All right, so with that reminders and with me kind of reviewing some things we talked about, let me go ahead and move on. Did you guys have any questions before I move on? Anything about, oh, you know what, the scavenger hunt? Hold on, let me go back to this really quickly. Let me pull it up. I've only gotten a few of the scavenger hunts so far, but again, you guys still have time to get this done. For the scavenger hunt, I think I went in and updated how to submit. You guys will complete this, and here's the options. Students can either go into the document that I supplied, and you can type your answers in real time in the document, and you can save it, on your computer and then email it to me as an attachment. You can do that. If that is something you are unfamiliar with, you don't know how to do, email me and let me know. We can talk it out, or stay after class today and we can talk out how to attach a file. So we can do that. But you guys make sure you are completing this. But I wanted to show you this first question. It's called a scavenger hunt syllabus quiz because some of the questions are asking you to complete a task, right? To go and collect something. So with this first question, it's all about downloading that Brightspace Pulse app. But once you've downloaded it, it's asking you to use that app to send me an instant message. So I have received a few, but I don't know if it was from this class. I think it came from my other class. Yeah, it came from my other class. So if you guys haven't done this yet, if you're struggling, reach out if you need me, okay? But try not to wait again until the last minute. So just a couple of questions on.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Rabia.
I emailed you mine, so does that count?
Yeah, that's perfect. I saw yours. Yeah, so I'm asking you guys to email it to me, and I think, hold on, let me go out. let me go back to how do I have it worded in the module? Oh, so, okay, yeah, I don't see the instructions for it. All right, I'll add a little blurb about that too, but you guys want to make sure you're emailing it to me when, in order to submit, okay? All right. So from this, do you guys have any questions about the week 1 module, about anything that we discussed on Tuesday before I kind of move on a little bit?
No.
All right, I hear no, but let me check here in my chat. Here no. All right. All right, so that first week is normally, well, the first week of classes is normally, you know, what I call housekeeping, right? We're kind of making sure that the foundation is laid, and I'm collecting a lot of information from students that helps me to plan better in terms of course design. So that online survey that you guys are completing, that's a tool that helps me you know, better assist or help students. The diagnostic that we are participating in today, I am assessing students' reading and writing skills, so that will also let me know what to introduce, and targeting student areas of weakness, right? So let's look at this collection of information from the diagnostic reading. So you guys read this, you know, Jason Oda. Well, actually, instead of this, you know, sharing it this way, hold on, let me share it another way. For some reason, I don't like the way it shows up in the window of Brightspace. Let me pull it up in Word just to make it a little bit clearer for you guys. All right, so let me just ask you guys a few questions. Hold on, let me resume share. All right, so you, on your screen, do you guys see the Jason Oda text?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys completed this. It's fairly short, but tell me, normally when we encounter readings in the class, there is a certain process that we'll always follow, and we'll talk about that. But before we do, let me just ask you guys, when you encounter a text, what is normally our process in reading that text? So in me giving you guys this reading assignment, what do we do first? What do you normally do first? And don't try to, you know, like tell me what you think I may want to hear. What in real time is your process? What do we do first when we encounter a reading assignment?
Read.
I hear read. Okay, so we just dive right in and read.
Read the title, and well, for me, I read the title and try to figure out like what the title means after reading the first paragraph.
Okay.
Like hashtag in.
Okay, so Aisha, you're talking about a process. Let's say a previewing. You want to look at, you know, what's the title of this? Who's the author? About how long? What is it talking about before you dive in? So I'm going to call that previewing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. What else, you guys? What do we do first? I hear read, so we just dive right in. In some cases, we look around, feel our way around a bit before we go head first. What's something else that we do?
Annotate.
I hear annotate. So as you are reading, you're annotating. Good. What else, you guys? For the most part, let me you know, just throw something else out there. For the most part, do we all agree that beyond previewing or maybe kind of looking around, looking at the title, looking at how long it is, and in cases of reading, annotating, do we all agree that for the most part, anytime we're given a reading assignment, we just get started on reading?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, the reason I'm asking is just to kind of, you know, just assess the habits, because we're going to talk about the habits or practices that we incorporate every time we read in this class. Let me just gather in a little bit of information. Let me see what else. All right. I can tell you this. When I was sitting where you're sitting right now, the first thing I would do when I would encounter a reading assignment, and just to be honest, I would always look to see how long it is. Is that something that we do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I normally want to know about how much time do I need to commit here, right? So, you know, that's part of a process. I tend to look around a little bit. Let me see, you know, normally when we would have our textbooks, look back before we went digital in life, right? I would normally, if I got what's assigned a chapter, I would normally look about, okay, that's about a 10-page chapter, because I would need to mentally prepare for
Right.
either how long I have to sit here, how much information I need to collect or attempt to absorb from this reading. So it's almost like a mental prepare. You know, I have to mental preparation, right? You talked to Rabia about previewing, and I like the process of before, you know, just like I'm looking around to see about how long it is. I'll look around to see title. I'll look at title. Sometimes I'll look at the author, especially if it's an author that I recognize. You know, as long as I've been in school, normally some of the writings I would recognize a particular author. And from that, I would get a better idea of what to expect from the text, right? So there's always been this process of, you know, kind of being nosy a little bit. I'm nosing around this text before I fully dive in and commit to it, right? So I heard Rabia say she sometimes will look at the first sentence of each paragraph, right? So sometimes I'll look at the first sentences, but where my eyes would normally gravitate would be towards anything that's large print, anything that's bolded or italicized or underlined. So I would kind of look at the text, and from there, I would assess the information. Okay, I see that. So, okay, after we complete initial reading, you guys, what do we do with the information that we gather? What do we normally do after we've read a text?
Answer.
I think about
Yeah, okay, so you're saying if there are any questions, you'll answer the questions?
Yeah.
I see Giselle says take notes.
I think about what's this passage talking about.
Okay, so you think about it. So you, I'll say you consider the key points, right? All right, I like that. All right, Giselle, you say you like to reread it and the second time write down notes. Okay, all right, I see. All right, you guys, good. I'm just collecting a little information on your process. All right, so after you read, you kind of take a moment to consider what you just read. In some cases, we may take it through a second read and then record those notes. Sometimes I make a list of what I call takeaways. So after I've read all that, what was the main takeaways? What did I get from it? What was the author attempting to teach me or tell me or show me? I normally will jot it down. So I like to see that you guys did that. Sam says I like to try to figure out exactly what the story is talking about, so I have a mental idea of what's going on. Good. So again, this idea of consideration. All right, good. I like it. All right, I'm just asking. Let me see what else. So as you guys were reading this particular text, misspelling the word of, what did we think about this text? And when I say what do you think about, I simply mean, you know, did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did you connect with it or relate to it? Was it an easy read, a hard read? So what did you guys think about this text? Sometimes the silence is so loud, right? Let's see. Simple read. Okay, I see you. I see you, Ariana. Simple read. Okay. I think it was an easy, I felt like it flowed easily, right? So it was easy to follow. Simple. Okay, I see you, Noah.
It was kind of interest trying to figure out what he was really trying to talk about.
Okay. I understand you on that, Brandon. So you were reading, trying to really get the main point. And
Right.
I see. So even though he's walking us through his experience, you were still focused on, okay, you said all this to say what? Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. I too, I'll be honest with you. When I annotate, a lot of times I like to look for the main idea. And in this particular text, it wasn't so easy to locate, right? So we'll talk about that. Aisha, you said the main topic was confusing in terms of finding it. Okay, yeah, I agree on that. Especially if you're looking for a single sentence, you know, that thesis statement or that statement of main idea. It's kind of broken up in pieces here in this reading. So, okay, I agree with that. All right, so for the most part, you guys felt like it was an easy read. Some cases a little bit difficult to identify main idea. It flowed relatively easy. All right. Let me see. Sorry. From this, let me see what else. So the question that I asked in terms of, did you guys connect with or identify with or relate to Jason's older experience? What about these experiences that he's discussing in the text about, he opens up with this introduction where he introduces us to a memory, right? He recalls when he was it first grade? He recalls when he was in the first grade, right? And his classmate Malcolm. So he recalls this situation in class where he kind of adopt this mindset or belief system that pretty much what the teacher says is, or, you know, is right, and what, you know, pretty much adhere to what the teacher says about a particular, you know, word or concept in the class, and that is what you stick to, right? Did you guys connect to this in any way? Did you have similar situations in your own grammar school or, you know, school history? Did you know a Malcolm? Had you seen a situation similar to this in your own education? Right. Did you guys connect or relate at all to his discussion of questioning authority, right? Not always accepting, you know, what he called indoctrinations, right? The indoctrination of authority figures, right? Is this something that you guys yourselves have had experience with?
No.
I hear no and I hear yes, okay? Let me give an example. Let me see if I can kind of make it a tad bit clear. I can tell you from my grammar school experience, you know, in Oklahoma, look, we call it elementary school, when you were in elementary school, right? I did see a lot of instances as a student where I noticed that a teacher may have been abusing authority, right? And that's not what necessarily happened here with Malcolm, but I have seen situations where an authority figure may be telling me something, but I know deep down, you know, that it may not be right, that I may disagree, or that, you know, like I may have my own questions about that, right? Have you guys ever had feelings of authority figures kind of imposing their ideas on you and discouraging any questions, you know, to that? Like, is my question making sense? Am I making sense, you guys? I'm feeling my way
Yes.
around. Okay. Let me see. Oh, I see you, Samantha. Not in school, but in the workplace. Yeah, it shows up almost in any setting. Absolutely. I'll tell you this. I remember even when I was younger, growing up in Oklahoma, they called that the Bible Belt, right? So in cities or states that are considered in the Bible Belt, a lot of the curriculum in school, a lot of laws that are on the books, a lot of how the states are governed may revolve around a awareness of religion or for the most part, we'll say Christianity, right? So there would be times, whether it was in school or whether at home, where my mother may ask me to do something and may give a reason to do it. And I may question that. I may challenge that, or just, need a little bit more understanding about that. And I remember being immediately reprimanded. You don't ask why, you just do what I say do, right? So what I'm getting from this text of Jason Oda is, in his youth especially, he encountered certain belief systems that it wasn't until he got a little bit older that he realized the importance of questioning these particular belief systems or indoctrinations, right? And I just remember when I was younger, this curiosity, like, why should we do it this particular way? Or why, does it require that, just even with the word of, why does it require that we spell it OF instead of how it sounds with that UV? In school, especially with students, a lot of times you're asked to do things or perform things that may not sometimes jive with your belief systems. You may not understand why. And in school, traditionally, you've even been discouraged from asking questions about it or challenging it. So in this particular article, he, discusses that. He introduces us to his personal experience with that. So in me asking you guys, did you relate to it? Did you connect with it? In the process of reading, where sometimes we do take notes, sometimes we will, do those annotations. A lot of times those annotations will consider a connection. As you're reading it, you'll jot a note down in the margin, like, yes, this reminds me of 5th grade, or, yes, I had a similar situation, as a teenager. Those connections, or the ability to relate to what you read or connect to what you read, it is what will generate normally your essays, your response to the reading. So we're going to talk more about how we're reading. So I'm going to put a pause just a second in this text. We're going to come back to the text. But let me pull up the week 1 module. I'm going back here just because the reading strategies that I would like us to not only consider, but use every time we encounter a text in this class. I want us to talk about that. And I want you guys to see how many of you are already on the right track. Those of you who are previewing, annotating, taking notes, attempting to carve out your own understanding of the text. You guys are already exhibiting what I call those critical reading habits. And that is what is necessary in order for you to navigate in this class. So we teach it, but the way that students really learn it is by every time we have a reading assignment, you are approaching it in this particular way every time. So let's talk about that. Let me pull it up. Turn this around. All right. This is a little grainy handout, but I want you guys to use it primarily as a resource. This is always the reading process that I teach and encourage in this class. So first, you guys see where it says annotating text. Here, let me get my spotlight so you can see where I'm at. See where it says before reading. Reading is a process that goes beyond just us. We encounter a text and boom, I just dive head first in and I start reading. If that has been your process, I want you to reconsider and definitely work every time that you encounter a text to start the process of poking around a little bit, previewing prior to diving head first into a text. So let's look at the process here. Anytime you encounter a text, you want to preview. So again, they say examine the front and back covers. If we were talking about reading a piece of literature, right, a novel, examining the illustration on the front or the summary on the back, that helps to give us some idea of what this text will discuss. Since for the most part in this class, we are reading articles or arguments or essays, you guys would preview by reading the title, looking at the subtitle, examining any illustrations, even though we know with the Jason Oda there were no illustrations or things like that, but you would look at any bold print, italic. So we talked about this. Examine the way the text is set up. Is it a short story? Is this a newspaper article? Is this a narrative or dialogue? So being mindful of what type of text you're reading, that helps you to know how the author is disseminating the information. We know if it's an article or an essay, that it follows a particular format. And you guys are going to learn more about that format, but just a brief summary on that. As we get into the process of writing our essays, we're going to learn about essay structure. And you guys will see that an essay begins with an introduction paragraph. It includes the body paragraphs, however many, and it always ends with a concluding paragraph. So if you know that what you're reading is an article or an essay, then you know it will generally have intro, body paragraphs, and conclusion. And when you know that, then you know that the main idea of a writing is normally introduced in the intro. So you could preview by reading that first paragraph to get a good idea of the topic or maybe the author's main point. And you would also want to read the conclusion, because normally in the concluding paragraph, the author will summarize or reiterate their main idea. So where you pointed out, Brandon, and I also think Giselle and me, for me as well, in the Jason Oda text, where the main idea was kind of broke up. It was broke up in the pieces. So, we'll talk about that after you guys take your diagnostic. But let's say you were struggling to find that main idea. Well, if you know what type of text you're reading, if it's an essay or an article, you can get a better idea of what that author's main idea is by previewing the intro and the conclusion. The intro always gives topic information, any background information. So it introduces you to the author's main point. And we always know that the conclusion summarizes the author's main point. So before you read, feel your way around the text. Get a better idea of what this text is designed to teach you. Anytime I encounter a text, I always look at, all right, what am I supposed to get from this? What information is the author trying to give me? And I am always aware to look for that information. So for the Jason Oda text, where the title of the text is misspelling the word of, right? By previewing that title, I would be prompted to look for, what does misspelling the word of mean, right? What does he plan to teach me or explain to me through the misspelling of this word? So you want to use the titles as well as the formatting, the print of the text, to give you a better idea of what you plan to take away from that text, okay? So we're going to always encounter any text. This is always going to be a process that we take the reading through, okay? The previewing process. All right, you guys see next we have a during reading process. So just where we talked about things like annotating, note-taking, highlighting, text That is your during reading process. So after we've previewed, now that we are reading the text, now that we have a better idea of what to expect from that text, now we annotate. So anything that may point to why misspelling the word of is significant, then I would want to highlight that, circle it. Anything that would point to the author's main idea or main point, what I feel that they're attempting to show me, I would definitely want to highlight that or identify that in my reading notes, okay? So you can either mark in the text, and we'll talk about this whole idea of annotation. If you guys remember from day one, annotation is normally an assignment that I attach to reading. So I try not to be heavy-handed on how you guys annotate, especially digitally, but I do want you guys to have some annotation skills. So try not to just go through and underline whatever you may think is important. You want to really make your annotations intentional. So if you are looking to highlight the author's main idea, then work up a strategy with yourself with, maybe I'm going to highlight the main idea in pink, or I'll highlight the main idea in green, or maybe with the main idea, I'll circle it. And that way, when you review your annotation or your notes, all of these underlines or highlights, they're not all looking the same. You'll know exactly why you highlighted or underlined this. You'll be able to read your annotations, and the purpose of your notes is for you to use them. So a lot of times with beginning reading and writing students, when I've viewed annotation, what students tend to do is they just tend to underline or highlight. And when I look at their annotations, I don't know why or what motivated them to highlight this area versus this area. So you want to be clear in your annotations, what you're marking as to what it symbolizes. So with unfamiliar words, here's just some things you can do. You could, let's say, put a question mark by unfamiliar words. These are your vocabulary that is unfamiliar or unknown. That will let you know, give you a symbol system as to why you, made that particular note. If you are looking for important information, you could underline what you consider to be key points or supporting details. If you are, again, identifying the main idea, make your notes on the main idea identifiable. So when you need to reread, especially like you guys will be doing for today's diagnostic writing, you wouldn't have to go through a full reread of the text. You can just look at your annotations and point to the main idea. So you want to get a system that will help you interact or engage with the text, okay? So we'll talk about a few strategies for that. When you guys normally annotate, do you normally identify unfamiliar vocabulary words?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
me, I just don't look them right up.
Okay, good. Yeah, definitely. Which we'll work more on this throughout the semester, but by the time you leave my class, it should be second nature for you to, if you encounter a word you don't understand in your reading, you go straight to a dictionary or you look it up immediately. Sometimes I just use my phone. I'll hit the microphone on Google and I'll say the word and it'll kind of read out that definition for me. But you will leave this class knowing that getting a full understanding of the text is what will help you with identifying the author's main point. So we'll talk more about a symbol system for annotation, but in this class, annotation is a necessary part of the reading process. Now, various ways that you can annotate besides underlining or highlight, summarize, so you could write a summary for each paragraph in the margins. I see a lot of students do that. So after I've read a particular paragraph, I take it in and now I write in the margin, all right, this is what this paragraph meant or what that paragraph said, okay? So we're going to get, again, a couple of strategies to help us with this. With previewing, we preview a lot of time to make predictions or to make inferences about what we're about to read. So your notes in the margin, your annotation, it doesn't have to just be underline and highlights. You can make predictions. You can formulate opinions. You can make connections. We just talked about that. Anything that you're reading that triggers a memory or that triggers a connection. Maybe you know someone or you yourself have gone through those same experiences. You may want to jot that down. You also don't want to take everything that you read in print as law. In this class, I really want to encourage students to question the information that you are receiving and reading. Everything, just because it's in a book, just because it was published, does not make it true. So as engaged readers, critical readers, I want us to, leave this class as investigative readers, right? I'm looking for information. There's information you should be giving me. So if anything's missing, if you're confused about anything, you can jot down questions in the margins. Just to pause on that for a minute. I took a gender studies class not too long ago. And with the gender studies class, when I read now, I am really aware and perceptive of use of language when it comes to gender identifications. So I'll give an example. So let's say that I'm reading an article about, let's say, domestic violence. And in this article about domestic violence, anytime the author talks about perpetrators of domestic violence, so these are the people who are actually inflicting harm. Anytime the author mentions or talks about the perpetrators of domestic violence, they always use the pronoun he. So I may jot a question in the margin, such as, why do they assume that the perpetrator of domestic violence is male, right? So there's questions, there's things that you can notice in the language, in the information that you're taking in your reading that may not jive so well with you. Somebody mentioned before about tone. Maybe you've made note of the author's tone. Maybe they have this sarcastic or authoritative tone that just doesn't sit well or that can get in the way. Sometimes I jot that down in my margin. That's something that I'll make a note about. So think of or encounter the reading that you, read in this class. Treat it as though, even though it's text, treat it as though you are in a conversation with that author. And even if we were in conversations with someone, normally, like I'm aware of certain things students may say. I'm not students, I'm sorry. Whoever I'm talking to, certain things they may say. If my eyebrow raises, I'll jot that down. Anything that makes me react, right? We're recording your interactions with the text. So that's why annotations are important. You're looking at the way the author writes, you're analyzing that. You're writing any reflections or reactions, looking for patterns and repetition. This is really important. I know when I am annotating, if I've seen an author point back to the same thing more than once, if they are repeating themselves over and over again, that's almost like an alarm that's letting me know this is important. They are attempting to hammer this particular point in. So that's a key indicator. This may be thesis. This may be main idea. This definitely is a key point. So look for those patterns and repetitions. Be mindful of them. That's normally the author's way of pointing you, leading you to, the main idea or key points. So we're going to get a lot more practice with this in terms of annotation. But lastly, there is an after reading process. Look, I keep having to move my little screen where I can see my students. It's all over. So let me move this up a little bit. All right, so you guys see here for this last area, after reading. So after you've read the text or any text you encounter in this class, is the process over? Absolutely not. Just like a few of you have pointed out, I think in chat, I think it was Giselle, it was a few of you, but you pointed out sometimes you go through a reread of the text. Afterwards, sometimes you jot down everything that you learned or that you took away from the text and you read over that. So the process doesn't end after we are done with an initial read of a text. We then want to consider what we just read. So the after reading process is just as important. You reread annotations. You draw your conclusions, okay? So the author said all of this to say what, right? So you take your notes, and from there you draw conclusions. You also review what you've read. So you can reread those pertinent areas in a text, that introduction and conclusion, to make sure you didn't miss anything or to figure out something new. A lot of times after reading, students go through a second read, which I call a close read, where they really are examining the parts of the text. So they're looking for repetition. They're looking for evidence, or how the author supported or developed their main point. So critical analysis or examination is important, right? Looking at other possible meanings. And lastly, for the after reading process, it's left up for the student again to determine takeaways, right? Now that I've read all of that, what does it mean? And this is very similar to what we do when we have conversations with people. Have you guys ever had a conversation with someone before and you're just listening, you know, you're shaking your head, yeah, yeah, yeah. But what you are really doing is you're waiting for the scoop. You're waiting for the point. You know, you're telling me all of this to say what, right? That same expectation, that's the same expectation we should hold for text that we encounter, for our reading. Just like a conversation, I'm reading all this because you're trying to tell me something. So what is your point? You know, what is it that you are attempting to teach me or inform me of? That after reading process is where we really examine that and, you know, determine that. I told you guys, after I'm done reading, I normally make a takeaway list. Here's what I took away from that reading. Here is what I would, based on my understanding, identify as that author's main points. Here's what they attempted to teach me or learn. So again, I'm just introducing you guys to this, but you will see that anytime we read in this class, we go through each step. So now, first we go through it step by step together, but as you guys begin to really hone these habits and these skills, then it would just be assumed that anytime you are given a reading assignment, this is the steps that you take that reading through, okay? So for now, we are going to take all of our previous assumptions about reading, all of our previous habits about reading, and we're going to put that aside. And when we enter the English 96 class, this will be our toolbox. This is what we're using to get through our reading. Some of you pointed out in day one that your goal for the class is to become a better reader, a stronger reader, and writer. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But this is your first step to becoming a better reader, but what I call a purposeful reader. Like, because I'm sure that we read all the time, but it's not just the process of reading, but what you're doing with that information that you're gathering. That is really what's at the heart of college level reading. Because as you guys go into your majors, whether that's nursing, you know, whether that is EMT, surgical tech, or even anything outside of healthcare, when you encounter a college level classroom, the instructor is expecting you to read critically. Because it will be up to you to gather or collect your own learning, okay? And what will help you gather and collect that learning is taking the text through a full reading process, okay? And what you guys will learn as you get more comfortable with it, it comes automatic. Sometimes I do these things not even aware that I'm going through a process. It is just what I do when I read. So let me show you guys something really quickly. Let me stop share for just a second. I'm pausing. When we talk about annotations, now when we were in class, I mean, when I was face-to-face teaching the English 96 class, while we were a part of the assignment would be read and annotate. It was always read and annotate, right? But since I'm not able to fully, in some cases, view your annotations, it is really going to be up to students to take that processed seriously, okay, whether it is recorded for a grade or not. Now, I will let you know, generally, I attempt to record it for a grade. So that's why if you are buying the tangible text, I told students, you know, definitely annotate, and I normally will have them take pictures of their annotation and send it to me. But if you are doing the digital readings, I found a new way for us to annotate digitally. So I'm going to introduce that to you guys next week. I want to kind of just keep this week simple and light, but I found a way to score digital annotations as well. So that just changed the game, let me tell you. Let me share my screen with you. I want us to talk about, all right. I may not be able to share it this way. Let me share it this way. Make it a little bit bigger. The catch with me doing this while you guys are on your either laptop screens or your phone screens is I'm hoping it doesn't block it from your view. But let's see. Pull this up. Can you guys see the screen here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you guys see the screen? It looks like a couple of samples of annotations. Do you see this?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So when we talk about annotation, does our annotations normally look like this? Now, they don't have to be this, they don't have to be this involved yet. But when we annotate, is this about what it looks like, you guys?
No.
No, okay. Hold on, let me see my chat. I see Noah says yes. Okay. All right. This is what we're working towards. Okay. I would say this is what college level annotations look like. This is what anytime you are reading a chapter in a textbook, or in my English 101 class now, we will read speeches or argument essays. Students are looking for specific information when they're reading. So the annotations are kind of taking inventory of those needs, right? So let's look at this. It says write down, oh, sorry, you guys. It says write down 4 things you notice in these photos. You guys don't have to write them down, but throw out for me, if you can, snap. Throw out for me, if you can, what are some things you notice about these particular annotation samples? When you looked at this, what came to mind? Did anybody think, whoa?
It's a lot of words that they, I don't know, it's a lot of big words.
It's a lot, okay, yeah. Yeah, you know, when I looked at this presentation, this PowerPoint, and I thought about showing the entire PowerPoint in class today, I thought twice about showing you guys this, because number one, I thought I don't want to scare them away, but I do want to show you guys, give you an idea of what college level annotations look like, or what, in some cases, if you flip through any books or texts that I'm reading, this may be what it looks like. I'm obsessive about annotation because I'm very serious about my time, so I don't want to sit here wasting time when I'm reading. Like, I really want to make the best of my time. So I'm normally always scheduling things. So I normally schedule study time. So if I'm reading, this has to go down where I don't have to reread this 4 or 5 times. I need to really make sure I'm getting what I'm supposed to get out of the text. So I go heavy with annotations. But what we're going to learn in this class is why these particular steps are necessary. So you guys can see in a few of the annotation samples here. Let me use my arrow. So you'll see how, But I'm sorry, did someone have a question?
I was just trying to say, was this like a certain way to analyze? Because when I just got a separate sheet of paper and just started, getting my predictions,
Yeah.
my formula opinions and stuff like that. So I was just trying to say, is it a certain way to do it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Right now, there is no, what I can call, let me say, I'm not giving us a required set of symbols. So it isn't anything that I will say you are required to do anytime you read. But I do want you guys to identify unfamiliar words. I would like for you guys to make connections. I do want you guys to attempt to identify the author's main idea. So these three things at a bare minimum, I would like to see attempts in every reading assignment. Every reading assignment in a process to identify main idea, identify unfamiliar vocabulary, and to engage with the text, whether that's making connections, summarizing your paragraphs, or asking questions. So those three as a basis. Anytime I tell you guys annotate, that's at a base, those three is what I'll look for. And I'll put this in writing for you guys as well. Now, how you do it will be up to you. So if you are identifying vocabulary, you can circle it. That process will be up to you. You could put a star by it. You can highlight it a particular color. I've had students in the past who use different color highlighters, and for each color it meant something. So let's say that if they highlighted it in pink, it's main idea, key points. They highlighted it in orange, that's the vocabulary that they don't understand. If they highlighted it in blue, that's something that they found confusing or they had questions about. So you all will kind of come up with your own system. I don't want to pull whatever has been working for you. But you guys will always be asked to identify main idea, key points, unfamiliar vocabulary, and to make some engage or examination of the text. Okay, so let's look at what we have here. So you see all of these margin notes, right? So in the margins, here's what this student is probably doing. They are making predictions. They're probably drawing conclusions. So here next to the title, do you guys see right here on this one? So they added an arrow from that title. This may be their prediction. Based on this title, this is what I think that this text is designed to teach me. So you see their note here. You can also see their notes in the margins, right? And they are drawing arrows to the text. So I would read this as, this may be their process for summarizing this particular paragraph, or it could be them asking questions. You guys see here these numbers? This is small, but just if you can see it. Maybe this was the vocabulary they identified, but you can see for the text in general, they are heavily engaged with what the author is presenting in this information. So they are either questioning it, they are either summarizing it, they are either making connections to it. So maybe in the margin, they may say, something similar happened to me when I was in 5th grade, or yes, this reminds me of my brother-in-law. I do that. And a lot of times when I'm reading, I'm like, yep, I know someone who does, just like this. So you have your notes here. Kind of moving us over to this one, I see question marks. So I know it's a little bit vague or hard to see, but you guys can kind of see those question marks there. Use your margins. Sometimes you may have read it, and even though you've read it as earnestly as you can, you may still be confused about some points on it. Jot those questions down, because when we come back together to talk about it in class, you can get clarification on those questions. Maybe your peer or your instructor can help you with any lingering questions that you have, right? All right, let's look over at this one. Yeah, I can see that they are working out their understanding of some language in the text. And I do a lot of translation. So maybe the author he may be this medical professional, and perhaps the text is about a medical advancement. Well, it's written in a lot of medical language, you know. So I may use my margins to translate it. Here's how I understand it. Let me put it in my own words, just so it's easier for me to review the information. So I use my margins for that as well. But however you use your annotations, the goal of using them is it should operate as a tool for you as the reader. When you guys study, because you see in the online readiness survey, I ask you guys about your study habits, right? So when you study, do you guys study from your notes, right? Do you study from your annotations? When done appropriately, you should be able to study from your annotations. If you are reading a chapter and that instructor tells you that you're going to have a quiz over these 4 chapters, well, you wouldn't want to read and memorize the entire chapters. But you would want to point out, what was the point of those chapters? What is the information I was supposed to learn from those chapters? And when you are studying or reviewing for a test or a quiz, you could use your annotations. This would be very useful in key points. I don't need to reread every example or every detail that's in this text. I just need to know, what are the key points? What is the author's main idea? What were some key concepts, right? So again, because I'm always focusing on time, I always feel like I'm racing a clock. I don't know if it's just a personality quirk or what, but I'm always very possessive of my time. So when I'm studying, when I'm reading, when I'm reviewing, it has to be the best use of my time. I cannot afford to have to go and do this again and again. So annotations and notes are really important in review, study. It helps you, instead of having to reread whole entire, in some cases, 20-page chapters, I can just look at my highlighted notes, right? I only focused on what was pertinent, what was important. So that should be a good resource for study. So just know that on day 1, we talked about how this class will help you not only become stronger readers and writers, but it will help you outside of this class as well. Annotation and the reading process, this is a skill that will help you outside of this class as well. All right, so we'll get a little bit more practice. Let me, with the time we have left, let me stop share. Was it anything else I wanted to show you guys before I leave? All right, no, let me go ahead and I don't want to confuse you with this. Let me close out of this. All right, before we go into the diagnostic, I'm reserving the diagnostic for the last 45 minutes of class. So before we go to that, there's one last thing that I want us to engage in. So I'm about to post a link for a exercise in the chat that students will be completing. So give me a second. Let me get this link. And, uh-oh. Sorry, you guys. I just went out of our meeting, and in my email, I had a student said that they're trying to get into the class. Is Mylan in the class? Mylan, are you here? Okay, no. All right, that's just helping me to know that, All right, no worries. I'll worry about that on my own. All right, let me gather this link, you guys. Bear with me one second. All right. Anytime I have Zoom running, especially when it's on record, it takes everything quite a while to load. So give me one second. All right. I'm dropping a link in our chat box. And this is a short survey. It's really about reading and writing, our beliefs and assumptions. So since we're talking about Jason Oda, a couple of ideas he explored in the text is, these ideas about, beliefs and assumptions, right? I'm trying to talk about it without giving you guys the main idea, because that is what you'll be asked to write about. So I don't want to give you that information ahead of time, but click on this link, you guys. And then let me know when you guys all have it up. You can do the thumbs up, reactions, or you can just stay verbally out loud. I have it up. Okay, I see Giselle.
For some reason, I can't like click on it.
Can't click on the link? All right, hold on.
No.
All right, let me try.
It's not highlighted.
It's not highlighted. Okay, let me drop it again. Okay. Sharing the link. And this link, anyone with the link can respond. So, okay, I'm making sure that it is ready.
It's a survey, right?
It is a survey, right? It's a reading and writing survey, yes. All right, how about that, Rabia? See if you can see that. All right, I heard you, Brandon, say you have it.
Yes.
Okay. If you guys have it, if it's up, go ahead and get started filling out those answers. I'm going to pull it up on the screen just so you guys can all know, you can all see kind of what we're all working on right now.
Maybe it's just not working for me.
Let me try to send it, shoot it to you in an email, Rabia. So give me 1 second, okay? Let me try to shoot it to you in an email.
Tell her double tap it too. I had to double tap it.
Yeah, try double tapping it, Rabia. But if not, let me get rid of it. How do I get this off my screen? There we go. This is what you guys should see. This reading and writing survey. So just take a few moments to fill this out for me. And Rabia, let me go, hold on real quick, to your email. I'll send this to you. All right, so Emmeline sent it to you too? Okay. All right, let me get it. Bear with me 1 second. All right, give me a second. Yeah, Emmeline, let me see if I have yours. Shoot me your student email, Emmeline, in the private. So you can just click on my name and shoot me your student email. I just don't have it in front of me right away. And then I'll send it to you. Rabia, I just sent yours. Okay, I don't have it yet, Emmeline, but I'm about to look you up on Brightspace. Hold on. Oh, wait, I see something. Okay. Uh-oh. What are you guys looking at on your screen? Are you looking at the, let me stop share. Hold on, I think I've messed up. Let me pull up. Heard somebody left. All right, you guys, take a couple more minutes on this.
I'm finished.
You finished? Okay, good. Yeah. I see I have 7 responses so far. So I do see you guys are getting that submitted. Okay, thank you, Yana. And there is no right or wrong on this, you guys. Again, it's just me kind of gathering information to see what are some belief or assumptions you guys have about reading and writing. And then I'll view the responses and we'll talk about this. We may only have time to talk about it next class, but go ahead and get this in so I can collect this information. I could have been playing some music, but we'll take a couple more minutes. Scrolling down to see how many questions this is. 16, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you send it again? I think I lost it. I don't know. I'm trying to find it.
Now, who was that? Is that Rabia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send it, Rabia. I'm gonna put a note here, because I'll send it, and even if you have to finish it after class or just send it to me later today, that's okay too. Okay, because we're gonna take about 3 or so more minutes on this, you guys. So Rabia, even though I'm resending it to you, don't worry about going. So Caesar, when you say me too, what do you mean? You need the link? Do you mean email you the link? Is that what that me too is? Oh, me too means you're, okay, send the link. Rabia, Caesar. Okay, I'll email that to both of you guys. And then from there, you can make sure you get it into me. All right. So give me a second on that, Rabia and Caesar. I'm trying not to leave this page. It's been kind of throwing me off. So I may end up sending it to you after class. Okay. Let me fix this. Oh, here it is. All right, so far about 11 students, and I know that a couple of you, I think there's about 2 of you who don't have the link or access to the link to complete as of yet. That's okay, don't worry, I'll send it to you. Let me hit refresh, let me just make sure. All right, so still 11. All right, if you haven't got that in as of yet, don't worry, get it into me. I am using it for class participation grades. So that's another way, again, I attempt to use assignments, what you do in class, that counts as engagement, right? It's okay, good. Let me show you guys what I plan to do with this information. We're going to talk more about it on Tuesday, but normally when I drop you links in chat like that, again, I'm kind of surveying the group. So I wanted to see, like, about where did you guys land with, you know, these particular questions. So we're going to spend time Tuesday. I definitely want to talk a lot more about this, especially like 2, where we say reading is an active activity. I kind of see there's a clear break here. We got 27 and 27 unsure or disagree, and about 45 who agree. Okay, we'll talk about that. That's interesting. A text has only one correct. Ooh, I like kind of how, so 82% of you guys agree or disagree, I'm sorry, that a text has only one correct. Okay, yeah, so this is going to be good discussion. I'm putting this to the side for now. Again, if you guys have not completed this yet, make sure you get it into me. And I know Rabia and Caesar, I know what's up with you. All right. Let's go ahead and get into our diagnostic. We got about 45 minutes left of class, and some of you may need help on this last assignment as well. So let me go ahead and get us into this now. Hopefully we don't run into too many hiccups. But the good thing about the diagnostic is it's all in one place on Brightspace. So we all have access to Brightspace. So let me go back to our Brightspace page, and let's get ready to set up our writing diagnostic. Uh-oh, something here. So you guys know from the writing diagnostic, you guys will be using that Jason Oda text, and we talked about it only surface level. I didn't want to give you guys any main idea information, but we will talk about it after this. But let me pull up the assignment. So on Brightspace, the way that you guys will locate the diagnostic assignment and complete it is all on Brightspace. So you go here to assessments, as you see me. From assessments, you'll click on quizzes. Now I know the word quiz may be you know, a little bit concerning, but this isn't technically a quiz. I just am administering it through the quiz tool. Hold on, this is not what you guys will see on your page. This is kind of what I have on my screen. What you all will see on your page is the week 1 diagnostic exercise, and you would click on that. So I'm clicking on it. So in pulling this up, let me give us all time to sign into our Brightspace page. So maybe in another window, you guys pull up Brightspace. Using the steps that I just showed you, on our course page, you will click on assessments. From assessments, you will click on quizzes. And in quizzes, you will find week 1 diagnostic exercise. So let me give us all time to sign into this. Let me change my screen just so it'll look a little bit more like what you guys are viewing on your end. So you would go to assessments, click on quizzes. And here you would see week 1 diagnostic exercise. So everyone go ahead and, all right, Caesar, I see that you have it. Good. Everybody kind of take a moment. Let's get into, make sure we're all in the same spot in quizzes under assessments. So about 5 minutes on this. So are we all here yet?
Yes.
I hear yes. Okay, awesome, good. If anybody's having any issues, shoot me a chat so I can kind of know if there's any stragglers. But if we're all in agreement that we're all here, we identified the diagnostic, you guys will click on it. And in it, it gives you the assignment instructions and guidelines. Since this is a reading, and writing diagnostic, it's important, again, I'm assessing your reading and writing skills. So I want to see how well you guys are able to read through instructions to complete an assignment. So don't really want to read them for you. Again, this is just me assessing those skills, but I do want to point out something. So look, I can't help myself. You guys will read the instructions. So clearly it gives you the instructions, but here is the prompt question. So do you agree or disagree with the author's main point? So here I want to assess, was the student able to identify the author's main idea? And in that identification, do you agree or disagree with the author's main point? So again, it's using your understanding or comprehension of the text to complete this assignment. The agree or disagree is also asking you to connect to that text. So it's working in a connection. So students will, and you guys will see something slightly different at the bottom of mine because since I'm the instructor, it doesn't give me the blue button to start quiz. But do you guys see the blue button to start the quiz?
Yes.
Okay, that's what you guys would click on in order to get started. Let me try to pull it up on my page too. But for this assignment, students are writing a multi-paragraph response to this question. Do you agree or disagree with the author? Are there any questions? Hold on. Guys, all right, so this is what you guys will be spending the rest of the time in class, the next 40 minutes to complete. Hold on, I got a couple of notes. These are the questions to the text, correct? Aisha, yes, right. This is the question to the reading, misspelling the word of. That is correct. The one question that you guys are writing about today is, Do you agree or disagree with the author's main idea? So you want to clearly answer the question. And the essay expectations is that you have a clear answer, you include some type of supporting details, and that you work to organize. But don't worry so much on the essay expectations. Based on how you write a multi-paragraph essay, answer this question, okay? Now, when we say multi-paragraph, that could be anywhere between 3 to 5 paragraphs. So a minimum of 3 is my preference, okay? Now, I know we have 40 minutes left, so do what you can do in the time that's left. But let me go out because there's one more thing that I want to show you guys really quickly that you'll see from this.
Did we start?
Yeah, go ahead and start. I'm sorry. Yes, please get started. If you guys need to mute me, if you already got the instructions and you're good with what you need, you can mute me. But if you guys are, kind of still need just a little tad bit more instruction, I want to show you one more thing. Hold on. Preview. So you would click Start Quiz, this blue button at the bottom to get started. And from that, you will enter your response here in this, HTML box, okay? Now, I did disable the box. So normally where it would give you spelling, it would spell check you. Wait a minute, I think spell check is still set up. Yeah, so it does still have the spell check set up. Okay, that's fine. But you guys would use this space to type out your multi-paragraph essay. And when you are done, you click Submit Quiz, and I get it on my end, okay? So go ahead and get started. I will go on mute for now, but if you guys have any questions, I'm still sitting right here. Shoot me a question in the chat box. All right, I'm just kind of jumping back in just to kind of let you guys know where we are with time. It's about 5 minutes left of class time, but I'll have like a 5 minute grace where I'll kind of stick around if you guys have any questions. On the screen, I have submissions so far from Jacob, from Julian, and from Yana. So you guys have completed and submitted your writing. If you guys are still in the process of doing so, again, go ahead and make sure you get that completed and turned in. If it goes beyond class time, if you need a little extra time, that's fine as well. But with these last 5 minutes, I just want you guys to go ahead and finish up. Also, remember the weekly module. Make sure you're working those in. So if I don't get a chance to dismiss you guys, if you're finished, those of you, feel free to go ahead and dismiss yourselves. We will talk about the results of the diagnostic as well as the results of that survey you guys finished, the link I dropped in chat. We'll talk about all that when we see each other again on Tuesday. But other than that, again, with these last 5 to 10 minutes left of class, you guys go ahead and finish up. But if you do have any questions, I will be sitting right here. All right, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, you guys, I'm just jumping back in again. I've been kind of muted, but sitting here. But if you're still working, that's okay. Again, I'll sit here for like a 5-minute grace if you have any questions. If you have submitted your diagnostic, you are free to go. So make sure you guys aren't just sitting here. But if you're still working, need a little bit more time, that's fine. I'll sit here with you just in case you need me, or if you have any questions, okay? Going back on mute. All right, thanks, Sam. Enjoy your weekend. All right, you guys, it's right at 12:05. Even if I close out this video, you guys can still remain in Bright Space and completing that document. I think I had it set up, even though we had an in-class time of 45 minutes. I believe that the test will be up and available for up to 2 hours. So I know you guys may be like, Ms. Cole, why didn't we do this on our own? But I really did want to be here just to kind of facilitate, help with any questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. You guys who are still working, that's fine. You still have time to do so. Again, if you struggle with anything or you have any questions, reach out to me. Other than that, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Enjoy your weekend. Look, summer is getting short, so do something to have a good time. I'll see you guys Tuesday. Have a good one.
All right.
All right, see you.